The Bf-109 sits 40 yards away, engine cowling open, tools scattered beneath the wing. Two German mechanics smoke cigarettes near the tail section. A guard leans against a fuel truck, rifle slung over his shoulder, watching the tree line in the wrong direction. The aircraft is armed, fueled, and facing the dirt access road that serves as a runway. It has been sitting there for 90 seconds. In another 90 seconds, the opportunity will close forever. Captain William Overstreet lies in a wheat field, blood soaking through his flight suit from a shrapnel wound in his left thigh. His P-51 Mustang burns 300 yards behind him, black smoke rising in a column that will bring every German patrol in the sector. His parachute is tangled in the wreckage. His sidearm is lost somewhere in the furrows. His radio is dead. He has no extraction plan, no backup, no chance of evading capture for more than a few hours. The doctrine is clear: find cover, avoid contact, wait for nightfall, move west toward Allied lines, follow the training, survive. Overstreet watches the mechanics. One drops his cigarette and grinds it under his boot. The other closes the cowling and latches it shut. They gather their tools. They walk toward a tin shack 50 yards from the aircraft. The guard remains at his post, but his attention is fixed on the smoke column. He shouts something in German. Another guard emerges from the shack and jogs toward the crash site. The first guard follows. The aircraft sits alone. Overstreet counts to 10. No movement. The mechanics are inside the shack. The guards are moving away through the wheat. He can hear their boots crushing stalks, their voices calling to each other. He has perhaps 2 minutes before they reach the wreckage and realize the pilot is gone. Perhaps 3 before they start a search pattern. The math is simple and unforgiving. He gets to his feet. His left leg collapses. He braces himself, tests the weight, forces the joint to lock. Pain floods up through his hip. He ignores it. He limps toward the aircraft, moving in a crouch, using the wheat for cover. His heartbeat hammers in his ears. His vision tunnels. Every instinct screams at him to run the other direction, to hide, to follow procedure. He keeps moving toward the Bf-109. He reaches the wing route. The aircraft is larger up close, heavier, more alien. The cockpit is open. The instrumentation is German, gauges labeled in a language he cannot read. The control stick is different, the throttle quadrant reversed, the trim wheels positioned where American aircraft place fuel selectors. He has never flown a Bf-109. He has studied recognition manuals, memorized silhouettes, analyzed gun camera footage. He knows how they move, how they fight, how they die. He does not know how they start. Behind him, voices rise in alarm. The guards have found the empty parachute. They are shouting, coordinating, spreading out. Overstreet hauls himself into the cockpit. He pulls the canopy closed. His hands find the ignition system. William Overstreet was born in 1921 on a wheat farm outside of Clifton, Kansas. The land was flat and unforgiving. Summers baked the topsoil into powder. Winters froze the water pumps solid. The farm ran on machinery that broke constantly, and his father could not afford to hire mechanics. By age 8, Overstreet was rebuilding carburetor assemblies on the kitchen table. By 10, he could diagnose engine problems by sound alone. By 12, he was welding cracked cylinder heads and fabricating replacement parts from scrap metal. His education was practical and relentless. The tractors were international harvesters, temperamental machines with magneto-ignition systems that failed in wet weather. The thresher was a Minnesota Model M, belt-driven, prone to seizing if the tension was wrong. The truck was a 1928 Ford, held together with wire and stubbornness. Overstreet learned that machines were logical. They failed for reasons. If you understood the system, you could fix anything. School bored him. He sat in the back of the one-room schoolhouse and sketched mechanical diagrams in his notebook. Teachers called him distracted. His father called him useful. At 14, he built a crop duster from a wrecked Curtiss JN-4 fuselage he bought for $50. He taught himself to fly by reading manuals and making mistakes in empty fields. He cracked up twice. He rebuilt it twice. By 16, he was dusting neighboring farms for pay, flying 20 feet off the deck, learning to read wind and terrain and the behavior of an aircraft at the edge of control. He did not talk much. He worked. He observed. He developed a reputation as someone who could fix anything mechanical and who did not waste time on problems that had no solution. When other boys went to dances, Overstreet stayed in the barn, disassembling engines, measuring tolerances, understanding why metal fatigued and how stress redistributed through a structure. His hands were always stained with grease. His mind was always calculating load factors and failure points. In 1940, he enlisted in the Army Air Corps. The recruiters saw his logbook and his mechanical aptitude scores and sent him to flight school. He excelled in navigation and aircraft systems. He struggled with formation flying and air-to-air gunnery. Instructors noted that he flew like an engineer, not a fighter pilot. Precise, methodical, risk-averse. He graduated in the middle of his class and was assigned to P-51 Mustangs, the newest fighter in the American inventory. The Mustang was a revelation. It was fast, clean, and beautifully engineered. The Packard-built Merlin engine produced 1,490 horsepower and ran smoother than any radial he had flown. The laminar flow wing gave it range no other fighter could match. Overstreet studied every system, memorized every limitation, flew it the way he had flown crop dusters, respecting the edges of the envelope. He did not seek glory. He sought understanding. He wanted to know how things worked. That curiosity would save his life in a French wheat field on May 12, 1944. P-51 Mustang training in late 1943 was built around a single principle: speed is survival. The Mustang could outrun almost anything the Luftwaffe flew. It could outdive every German fighter. Its range allowed it to escort bombers deep into the Reich and return home. American doctrine exploited these advantages ruthlessly. Climb high, stay fast, engage from advantageous positions, and disengage before the enemy could respond. The tactics were taught in classrooms, drilled in flight training, and reinforced through after-action briefings. Instructors hammered the rules into every pilot. Never turn with a Bf-109. The Messerschmitt could outturn a Mustang in sustained horizontal flight. Never slow down in a fight. Speed was your margin, your escape, your weapon. If you lost speed, you lost options. If you lost options, you died. Use altitude. Use dive speed. Use your wingman. Stay disciplined. Follow the doctrine. The kill ratio supported the approach. By early 1944, P-51 pilots were shooting down German fighters at rates exceeding 3 to 1. The Mustang force was winning the air war over Europe, grinding down the Luftwaffe through attrition and superior tactics. Bomber losses were dropping. Escort missions were succeeding. The doctrine worked. But doctrine assumed ideal conditions. It assumed you saw the enemy first. It assumed your aircraft was undamaged. It assumed you had fuel and ammunition and altitude and options. It did not account for surprise bounces from cloud cover. It did not account for engine failures or jammed guns or radios that stopped transmitting. It did not account for bad luck. Overstreet learned the doctrine. He memorized the engagement parameters, the deflection angles, the energy management techniques. He flew 23 missions over France and Germany, escorting bomber formations, tangling with Focke-Wulf 190s and Bf-109s. He was credited with 2 confirmed kills, both long-range, diving attacks executed exactly as trained. He followed procedures. He stayed alive. His squadron mates were younger, louder, more aggressive. They talked about dogfighting, about going head-to-head with German aces, about proving themselves in turning fights. Overstreet listened and said nothing. He had grown up fixing machines that failed because operators ignored limitations. He had seen what happened when people trusted instinct over engineering. The Mustang was faster than a Bf-109 in level flight. It was not more maneuverable. That was a fact, not an opinion. On May 12, 1944, Overstreet was assigned to escort a formation of B-17s targeting rail yards outside Paris. The weather was marginal. Cloud cover at 8,000 feet, visibility poor. The bombers droned through gray skies, and the fighter escort weaved above them, scanning for threats. Overstreet flew tail-end position, covering the formation's rear quarter. His radio crackled with routine chatter. His engine hummed. Everything was normal. Then the clouds opened, and 8 Bf-109s dropped through the gap, already in firing position, and doctrine stopped mattering. The first warning is a shout on the radio. Bandits high, 6 o'clock, diving. Overstreet snaps his head back, cranes his neck, scans the sky above and behind. He sees them instantly. 8 Bf-109s in a vertical dive, already committed, closing at combined speeds exceeding 600 mph. They are perfectly positioned, emerging from cloud cover with altitude and surprise. The bounce is textbook. The Americans have 3 seconds to react. Overstreet breaks hard left. His wingman breaks right. The formation scatters. The Bf-109s flash through the gap, firing as they pass. Tracer rounds arc through the Kong air like slow-motion fireflies. Cannon shells detonate in empty sky where the Mustangs were seconds before. The German fighters pull out of their dives, bleeding speed, beginning to climb for another pass. Standard tactics: dive, shoot, climb, reset. Overstreet rolls level and scans for his wingman. Gone. Separated in the break. He is alone. He checks his 6. 2 Bf-109s are climbing toward him, repositioning for another attack. He pushes the throttle forward, accelerates, follows doctrine. Speed is survival. Outrun them. Extend the distance. Force them to chase. Deny them a firing solution. His engine roars. The Merlin produces full power, 1,490 horsepower, driving him forward. The airspeed indicator climbs. 320 mph, 340, 360. He is pulling away. The Bf-109s cannot match his straight-line speed. They fall behind, still climbing, still hunting, but losing the pursuit. He has executed the doctrine perfectly. He is winning. Then his engine stutters, a single cough, barely noticeable, then another. The smooth roar becomes rough, uneven. The tachometer needle drops. Oil pressure fluctuates. Coolant temperature spikes. He checks his gauges. Everything is wrong. He smells glycol, sharp and chemical. Coolant leak. The Merlin is overheating. He has perhaps 2. Minutes before the engine seizes, he transmits on the radio. Mayday. Engine failure, going down. Static. He switches frequencies, tries again. Nothing. His radio is dead. He scans the sky. The Bf-109s are still behind him, still closing. They have seen the smoke trailing from his exhaust. They know he is crippled. They are not rushing. They are patient. They are waiting for him to fall. Overstreet looks down. France spreads below, a patchwork of fields and forests. He is 40 miles behind enemy lines. The engine coughs again, loses more power. He cannot make it back. He cannot outrun them. He cannot fight. His options collapse to 1. Get down. Survive the landing. Evade. Capture. He rolls into a shallow dive, heading for a flat section of wheat fields. The Bf-109s follow, descending with him, vultures circling a dying animal. The engine seizes with a metallic shriek. The propeller windmills uselessly. Silence floods the cockpit, broken only by the whistle of wind over the canopy. Overstreet glides toward the earth, lining up his approach, preparing for a dead stick, landing in enemy territory. He has no power, no radio, no support. He has only the skills learned on a Kansas farm, fixing machines that should not run. The Mustang hits hard. Overstreet holds the nose up as long as possible, bleeding speed, trying to stall just above the ground. The wheels are up. The belly strikes first, plowing a furrow through wheat. The impact slams him forward against his harness. His head snaps back. The aircraft skids, bounces, skids again. Metal screams. Wheat explodes around the canopy. The world becomes a blur of green and brown and violence. Then stillness. The Mustang settles into the furrow, nose down, tail high. Smoke pours from the engine cowling. Coolant hisses. Overstreet unbuckles his harness with shaking hands. His left thigh is wet. He looks down and sees blood soaking through his flight suit. Shrapnel from the engine failure. He does not remember being hit. Adrenaline has masked the pain. Now it arrives, sharp and electric. He shoves the canopy open. Hot air rushes in, thick with the smell of burning oil and scorched wheat. He hauls himself out of the cockpit, favoring his right leg. His left barely supports weight. He slides off the wing and collapses in the furrow. The wheat is chest high, dense. It provides cover. He rolls onto his stomach and listens. Engines, high overhead. The Bf-109s are circling, confirming the kill. They do not strafe. No need. The Mustang is clearly finished. Smoke billowing, pilot down. They will radio the location. Ground patrols will arrive within minutes. Overstreet crawls away from the wreckage, pushing through wheat stalks, dragging his injured leg. Every movement sends pain through his hip. He ignores it. Motion is survival. He covers 20 yards before he hears voices. German, sharp commands, boots moving through wheat. He freezes, presses himself flat. The voices are close, perhaps 50 yards to his right. A patrol, searching. He stays motionless, breathing shallow, listening. The voices fade slightly, moving toward the crash site. He has minutes at most. He raises his head slowly, scanning his surroundings. Wheat field in all directions. A tree line 300 yards west. A dirt road running north-south. And then he sees it. 200 yards to the north, tucked against the tree line, partially hidden by camouflage netting. An airstrip, not marked on any map. A forward staging area, crude and temporary. A fuel truck. A tin shack. 2 German mechanics working near a windsock. And 1 aircraft. A Bf-109, parked on the access road, engine cowling open, tools scattered underneath. It is being serviced. It is alone. The guards are distracted, moving toward the smoke column from Overstreet's crash. The mechanics are focused on their work. Overstreet stares at the aircraft. His mind runs calculations. Distance to cover. Time before the patrol returns. Probability of reaching the Bf-109 undetected. Probability of starting it. Probability of taking off before being shot. Every number is terrible. Every option is suicide. Doctrine says to hide, to evade, to wait for nightfall, and move toward Allied lines. Doctrine is written for situations where you have time and options. Overstreet does not have time. The patrol is sweeping toward him. More patrols are coming. His leg is bleeding. He cannot walk far. Or he cannot outrun dogs. He will be captured within the hour, but 200 yards away sits a fully fueled German fighter. He has spent 3 years studying how they work. He knows their systems. He knows their weaknesses. He is a mechanic who learned to fly, not a pilot who learned mechanics. The distinction matters. Overstreet watches the guard patterned, 2 men rotating between the fuel truck and the tree line. They move in predictable loops, scanning the perimeter, checking the crash site smoke. Their attention is fixed outward. They are looking for threats from the sky, from the west, from Allied lines. They are not looking at the wheat field behind them. The mechanics work beneath the Bf-109's cowling, focused on their task. One holds a wrench, the other consults a clipboard. They are 40 yards from the guards, separated by function and attention. The patrol voices grow louder behind Overstreet. They are moving through the wheat in a line sweep, calling to each other, coordinating their search. He has perhaps 90 seconds before they reach his position. The math is simple. Stay here and be captured. Move toward the tree line and be seen. Move toward the Bf-109 and commit to the most insane decision of his life. He thinks about the aircraft. Bf-109 G6, most likely. the workhorse variant produced in the thousands, flown by every Jagdgeschwader in the Luftwaffe. He has studied recognition manuals until the specifications are burned into memory. Daimler-Benz DB605 inverted V12 engine, 1,475 horsepower. Maximum speed 386 mph at 20,600 feet. Armament package of one 30mm cannon and two 13mm machine guns. Weaknesses in the cooling system, vulnerability to dive speeds exceeding 450 mph, tendency to torque hard on takeoff due to propeller rotation. He knows the control layout, throttle on the left side, inverted from American practice. Trim wheels on the left cockpit wall, fuel selector under the seat. Primer pump on the right side. Magneto switches on the instrument panel. Landing gear retraction, handle on the right. Flaps operated by a hand crank. He has never touched these controls. He has memorized their positions from captured aircraft reports and interrogation summaries. He does not know if it will be enough. Starting a German fighter engine requires a specific sequence: fuel pump priming, magneto activation, starter engagement, throttle adjustment during catch. Miss one step and the engine floods or fails to ignite. American fighters are designed for simplicity. German fighters are designed for performance, with complexity as the cost. Overstreet is a mechanic. He understands complexity, but understanding and executing under fire are different problems. The guards complete their rotation. Both move toward the crash site, drawn by the smoke. The mechanics close the cowling, latch it, gather their tools. They walk toward the tin shack, talking, laughing about something. The aircraft sits alone. The patrol behind Overstreet is 50 yards away, maybe less. He hears them clearly now, voices calling his position, describing the furrow trail he left crawling through wheat. Overstreet gets to his feet. His left leg buckles. He forces it straight, locks the knee, accepts the pain. He moves in a crouch, pushing through wheat stalks, angling toward the Bf-109. His vision tunnels, his heart hammers. Every step feels exposed, obvious, suicidal. He keeps moving. The distance closes. 150 yards, 150. He reaches the wing root, touches German metal, pulls himself up onto the wing. The cockpit is open. The seat is empty. Behind him, a shout. He nods. German. They have seen him. Overstreet drops into the cockpit. The seat is hard, cramped, positioned lower than a Mustang. The instrument panel is dense with gauges labeled in German. Geschwindigkeit, Höhe, Drehzahl. He ignores the labels. Instruments are universal. Airspeed, altitude, RPM. The layout is inverted but logical. He scans for the essentials. Throttle on the left, mixture control beside it. Magneto switches on the panel. Fuel selector under the seat. Gunfire cracks behind him. Rifle rounds punch through the tail section. The guards are running toward the aircraft, firing as they move. Overstreet yanks the canopy closed. Bulletproof glass, thick and scratched. The rounds spark off the armored headrest. He is inside a steel box, temporarily protected, but the protection means nothing if he cannot start the engine. His hands move on instinct. Fuel selector to main tank, mixture full rich, throttle cracked open 2 inches. Primer pump on the right side, he finds it, works the handle. Resistance, then smooth pumping action. Fuel pressure builds. He counts 6 strokes, stops. Too much and the engine floods. Too little and it will not catch. Magneto switches. 2 of them side by side. He flips both to on position. Battery master, he searches, finds it on the lower left panel, clicks it, active. The instruments flicker to life. Oil pressure gauge, fuel gauge, coolant temperature. All reading cold, all normal. The aircraft was being serviced. It is mechanically sound. That is the only advantage he has. Starter engagement. He scans the panel, the cockpit walls, the floor. American aircraft have a starter button on the stick. German aircraft separate the function. He finds it, a black button near the throttle quadrant. He presses it. The starter motor whines. The propeller blades rotate slowly, reluctantly. The engine turns over once, twice, 3 times. No ignition. The whine continues. The propeller spins. Nothing catches. More gunfire. The mechanics have joined. The guards. Rounds hammer the fuselage. One punches through the canopy side panel, missing Overstreet's head by inches. Glass fragments spray across the cockpit. Cold air rushes in. He keeps his hand on the starter button. The engine turns over again, 4 times. 5, still nothing. Overstreet releases the starter, lets it rest, counts to 3. His mind races through the sequence. Fuel pumped, magnetos on, mixture rich, throttle position correct. What is missing? The German procedure. He remembers a detail from an interrogation report. Bf-109 pilots tap the throttle during startup to aid fuel flow. A quirk of the DB605 carburetor design. He taps the throttle forward, back, forward again, presses the starter button. The engine turns over, once or twice. The propeller blades rotate. On the 3rd rotation, the engine coughs. Black smoke belches from the exhaust stacks. The propeller stops, shudders, rotates again. The engine fires. 1 cylinder, then another, then all 12 catching in. Sequence. The Daimler-Benz roars to life. The sound is different from a Merlin, rougher, louder, more mechanical. The entire airframe vibrates. Overstreet adjusts the throttle, smooths the idle. Oil pressure climbs, coolant temperature begins to rise. The engine is running. He has perhaps 10 seconds before someone shoots out a tire or punctures the fuel tank. He reaches for the throttle. His hand is steady. His mind is clear. He is no longer in enemy territory. He is in a machine he understands. Overstreet releases the brakes. The Bf-109 lurches forward. The access road is dirt, uneven, barely 40 yards long. He pushes the throttle to full power. The Daimler-Benz screams. The propeller torque pulls the nose hard left. He compensates with right rudder, overcorrects, compensates again. The fighter accelerates, bouncing over ruts, tail lifting. Rifle fire continues behind him. A round hits the rudder. Another sparks off the armor plate behind his seat. The tree line rushes toward him. He is out of runway. He pulls back on the stick. The Bf-109 claws into the air, barely clearing the trees, branches scraping the belly. He is airborne, altitude 50 feet, airspeed 120 mph. The engine roars at full throttle. He climbs, gaining speed, gaining distance from the ground fire. His hands shake on the controls. The fighter handles differently than a Mustang, heavier on the ailerons, lighter on the elevator. The torque is vicious. Every control input requires opposite rudder. He levels at 2,000 feet, scans the sky. Empty. He throttles back, lets the engine settle into cruise power. His breathing steadies. He is alive. He is flying. He is in a German fighter deep behind enemy lines. He has no plan beyond survival, no navigation beyond heading west. He scans the instrument panel. Fuel gauge shows 3/4 full. Enough for perhaps 90 minutes of flight. Enough to reach Allied lines if he flies straight and fast. Then he sees them. 4 P-51 Mustangs, 3,000 feet above, heading east. His squadron. They are searching for him, flying a patrol pattern over the area where he went down. Relief floods through him. He reaches for the radio transmit button. Stops. The radio is German. Different frequency. Even if he transmits, they will not hear him. And if they see him, they will see a Bf-109. They will attack. He watches the Mustangs circle. They are too far to see his markings, too far to identify him. He needs to signal somehow to make them understand. He considers his options. Waggle his wings. Flash his landing lights. Fire a flare. He has none of these. The Bf-109 is armed and fueled for combat. It has guns, ammunition, and Luftwaffe markings on every surface. Then a new problem appears. 6 Bf-109s climbing from the south, heading directly toward the American patrol. A German flight, responding to the earlier engagement, looking for targets. They have not seen Overstreet yet. They are focused on the P-51s above. Standard German tactics. Climb to altitude, position. For a bounce, attack from the sun. The Americans do not see them. They are still circling, still searching. Overstreet has seconds to decide. He can run west, abandon the area, try to reach Allied lines alone. He can do nothing and watch his squadron get ambushed. Or he can do something no doctrine covers. He can use a German fighter to protect American pilots who will kill him if they identify his aircraft. He checks his gun switches. He arms the weapons. He turns toward the climbing Bf-109s. They still have not seen him. They think he is one of them. Overstreet positions himself above and behind the German formation. They fly in pairs, standard rota formations, stepped in altitude. The leader climbs at the front. His wingman trails 200 yards behind and 50 feet lower. Two more pairs follow in echelon. They are disciplined, professional, focused on the American patrol above. They do not check their six. Why would they? They are over occupied France. They are among friends. Overstreet dives on the trailing pair. He closes to 300 yards, 200, 100. The 30mm cannon is centerline mounted. He aims through the Revy gun sight, leads the target, accounts for deflection. The aiming principles are identical to American systems. He presses the trigger. The cannon hammers. 3 rounds. The third hits the wingman's engine. Coolant sprays. White smoke streams. The Bf-109 breaks formation, diving away, trailing fire. The Germans react instantly. They scatter, breaking in all directions, scanning for the attacker. They see Overstreet's Bf-109. They see German markings. Confusion ripples through their formation. Who fired? Where is the threat? Overstreet uses their hesitation. He rolls hard, pulls into the leader's turn, cuts inside his radius. The German pilot sees him, recognizes him as friendly, straightens out. Fatal mistake. Overstreet fires again. Short burst. The 13mm machine guns converge with the cannon. Rounds walk across the fuselage. The canopy shatters. The Bf-109 snap rolls left and falls, trailing pieces. 2 kills in 30 seconds. The remaining Germans understand now they are under attack by one of their own or by an American in captured aircraft. Either way, they respond with violence. 3 Bf-109s turn toward Overstreet. They separate, forming a 3-point attack. Classic tactical response. Force the target to defend in multiple directions simultaneously. Overstreet knows the maneuver. He has fought it before. He breaks hard right toward the nearest attacker, denying him a shot. The German flashes past. Overstreet reverses, pulls vertical, bleeding speed. The second attacker overshoots. The third tries to follow the vertical pull. Mistake. The Bf-109 has power, more than a Mustang below 15,000 feet. Overstreet holds the vertical climb until his airspeed drops to 90 mph. The German behind him stalls first, falls away. Overstreet kicks rudder, rolls inverted, pulls through into a split S. He comes out below the German, now diving, now with an energy advantage. He closes the distance, fires, hits. The third Bf-109 trails smoke, breaks away. The remaining 3 Germans disengage. They dive south, running for safety, unwilling to continue a fight against an enemy who flies like them, thinks like them, uses their own tactics. Overstreet does not pursue. He is low on altitude, low on energy, bleeding adrenaline. He levels out at 1,500 feet. Above him, the P-51 patrol has scattered. They saw the fight. They saw a Bf-109 engaging other Bf-109s. They do not understand what happened. One Mustang dives toward Overstreet, committing to an attack. Overstreet sees him coming. He does not run. He cannot outrun a Mustang. He waggles his wings, rocks them left, right, left in the international signal for friendly aircraft. The Mustang closes, hesitates, holds fire. Overstreet continues west, flying straight and level. The Mustang follows, 500 yards behind, neither attacking nor escorting. Just watching. Overstreet crosses into Allied territory at 800 feet. The fuel gauge reads empty. The engine coughs once, smooths out, coughs again. Fuel starvation. He has perhaps 2 minutes of power remaining. Below, the patchwork of French farmland gives way to military installations. American positions, anti-aircraft batteries, forward airstrips. He needs to land immediately, but landing a German fighter at an Allied base is suicide. The gunners will fire first and identify later. He scans ahead. A grass airstrip, small, probably a forward observation post. No tower, no control structure, just a windsock and a few tents. Good enough. He lowers the landing gear manually, cranking the hand wheel on the right side. The gear extends with mechanical resistance. No hydraulics, pure mechanical advantage. The Bf-109 shudders as the wheels lock down. Drag increases. The engine coughs again, runs rough. The Mustang still follows him, 400 yards back. The pilot has radioed ahead. Overstreet is certain. Every gun position below is tracking him now, waiting for authorization to fire. He pushes the radio transmit button, speaks in English. American pilot in captured aircraft. Do not fire. Repeat, American pilot. His accent is pure Kansas, flat and nasal. No German could fake it. Static. No response. Wrong frequency. The German radio cannot reach Allied frequencies. He is flying an enemy fighter toward an American airstrip with no way to communicate. The engine dies. Complete power loss. The propeller windmills. Silence except for wind noise. He is gliding, committed to the approach. No chance to wave off or go around. He lines up on the grass strip. Too fast. He cranks the flap wheel, extends flaps manually. The nose pitches down. He compensates with elevator trim. The strip rushes toward him. He holds the approach, crosses the threshold at 100 mph. Too fast still. He holds the nose up. Bleed speed forces the tail down. The mains touch hard. The Bf-109 bounces, settles, rolls out. No brakes. The system is mechanical, and he does not know the procedure. He uses rudder to keep straight, lets friction slow him. The fighter stops 20 yards from the tree line. Overstreet sits in the cockpit, hands still on the controls, breathing hard. The canopy is spattered with oil and coolant. The engine ticks as it cools. Outside, American soldiers sprint toward the aircraft, rifles raised, shouting commands. He opens the canopy slowly, raises his hands, climbs out onto the wing. Blood soaks his flight suit. His leg collapses. He falls, caught by 2 soldiers who grab his arms. They search him, find his dog tags, read his name. Recognition spreads. Someone radios command. More soldiers arrive. A medic works on his leg. An intelligence officer asks questions Overstreet cannot answer yet. His mind is still in the cockpit, still flying, still calculating angles and fuel consumption and the probability of surviving what he just did. 3 days later, after debriefing, after medical treatment, after analysis of the gun camera footage that confirms 5 kills, Overstreet is asked why he did it. He thinks about the question. About doctrine and survival and the moment when following rules means dying. He answers simply, the aircraft was there. I knew how to fly it, the rest was just mechanics.